Welcome back, terrible listeners, to the third episode of Bluebeard's Bride, the feminine horror RPG by Magpie Games. We are making our way through Bluebeard's mansion. We have visited one room and already killed a servant.
And burnt it down.
Now, I did forget a few things about trauma because we're wrapping things up and I wasn't paying too much attention. I'm going to fix that for you. But before we get into that, let me reintroduce you to the players at our table. Starting at my left, your right, we have from the Fairytales for Unwanted Children
podcast, it's Scott Thrower. I'm playing the mother.
Excellent. And you're looking at them and going, oh dear, I have a lot of work to do.
These people have gotten a little out of line, so the mother's going to have to pull them back into order and flex her authority.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Mommy.
Speaking of out of line.
Me? Well.
From the podcast for the recently deceased.
It's Ash Cassidy, and I am playing the Fatale.
And also from said podcast,
Nick Cassidy, and I'm playing the Witch.
And here from the Terrible Warriors and from the Sayer podcast as Porter, and from Twitch TV, you have...
Hi, it's Bree. I'm still here.
You're playing the Virgin.
Playing the Virgin. Trying something new that's not new at all. It sounds funny when you hear the character trope, and then you hear how I'm playing them, and you're like, oh, that does make sense.
So the when you took a token of faithfulness, you all got a heal on your trauma for taking that, and that's a mechanic that's one of the only ways to heal in the game. However, Fatale or Virgin, you tried to cry out for help because of the burning outside of the room, so you're going to be taking a trauma anyways from that because you rolled a 2 or a 3. No one came to help you, and the panic began to set in. So even though you got it healed,
the room is on fire.
You still took another trauma anyway, so you're going to remain at 1.
I'm just really worried that our husband is not going to be happy about that.
As you're making your way down the hallway, you do hear some other servants being like, there's a fire, take it out, snuff it out. And they're all heading down with like heavy blankets and buckets of sand. And the room will be looked after if whatever state it is still in. And as you're going through, you see the morning light coming through the windows.
If anyone asks, by the way, we say that we left that servant to deal with the fire, and we got out of there.
Mm-hmm. I think she was being helpful.
Well, she will be when she takes the fall.
Y'all are mean.
She did technically kick the candles over.
That was the other one. No, the one we killed is the one that we just killed.
You never actually learned her name. Annette was the one who kicked over the candles.
Yes, so Annette is getting fired. Just flat out.
Yeah, and that's getting fired. Jill the Flammable is no longer on the payroll.
No, I don't think we should fire Annette.
She kicked over candles.
Also, we should fire the other one who's on fire.
Way.
You dismissed her out of the room because you didn't want her to see the body that you were hiding in a closet.
But still, she doesn't know that. She kicked over candles. What kind of insolence is that?
Yeah, you asked for that sandwich no less than 3 times.
Exactly. Give me a sandwich.
Are you going to go find the mother a sandwich? Virgin.
She gets real hangry, as we've just found out. So
the last episode, you described to me a key. Mm-hmm. Would you like to describe it again, or I can go over the notes I had?
We said it was silver, and it looked a little bit like a knife. The kind of not like silver like opulence, but silver like this is a well used and sharpened chef's knife. And then when I ran my hand across the top of it, it was actually sharp, which seems like a dangerous thing to put on your key ring. Just saying, rich people are weird.
Hell yeah.
Yes, and also you've injured our thumb, so be more careful.
Yes, take a trauma.
Is it also morning? Were we in there that long? I thought we went in there like...
Actually, that's a trauma for the bride's physical body. So everyone marked trauma for the sharp knife that the Virgin decided to stab yourselves on.
You clumsy Aegis.
So that's interesting.
I'm all into cutting myself.
The witch, you were remarking on the time of day.
Yeah, is it not like you said it's getting bright out? Didn't we go in there
morning
just
lights
after?
Coming through the trees.
Were we in there all night?
The morning doves are starting to... Well, I guess it's fall. So there's no real bird song anymore. Yeah, it's just like a crows.
It's a servant that they pay to make bird noises outside.
Yeah, crow.
The illusion.
Yeah,
his name is Crow.
Old crow outside.
Can't wait to go home and see Jill,
he's
my
there,
very flammable partner,
raking the leaves. Just raking the leaves and putting them into a little bonfire for the leaves out in the courtyard.
Jill would love this.
We must have dozed off while we were on the bed. I mean, that's perfectly reasonable. It was a very, very difficult day.
It was a pretty comfy bed until it started trying to kill us too.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yes.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Although I still think that was in our imaginations. I mean, there's no such thing as ghosts.
As you're all talking amongst yourselves in your mind, the bride is quiet as she wanders through the halls, and she comes up to down, stone stairs to more the ground level again, and you come across a door that catches your eye, Virgin. That seems to match your key. How does it match your key?
I mean, it's a big wooden slab of a door. Like it's not ornate, but
It's
the
one piece of wood.
it's a big wooden slab, and it's not ornate. It's like got the inlaid like wood tiles, so it's got like the squares on it, but like nothing exciting about that. But the keyhole and the doorknob and the lock are this same bright, well used silver.
It must be.
And
just
then
like
I touched the doorknob.
like
Try not to hurt us this time.
the doorknob to be like, is that doorknob also sharp? And it's not.
no, no. But the slot for the key is like a knife block. Like it has to be.
And it just shings nicely on the way in.
I like it.
And when it goes in and it clicks and it turns, it's actually not the whole door that opens. It's just like another inlay small door that opens in, and it kind of just clicks open and it moves in. And do you enter the room?
Yes.
Now the Virgin...
It's like, no, I decided I'm not going to, but...
The Virgin did call for help.
You did call for help. So I was letting you have the moment to describe the key, to give you the chance. But you'll now
we're
hand
in
the
the
key
room.
to whoever of the three. It's your choice.
I mean, we're not giving it to the mother, because...
I get things done. I
Yeah,
get things done.
Look, a room
I
burned
get
down,
things
and I'm not
done.
giving it to the witch, because the witch just suffocated a woman.
Thank you, sister.
You're welcome, sister.
So
I like you more than them.
You make your way
Yes.
into the room.
Get
Wow.
this pillow ready for you.
That is
the
a
door
demon's bargain
closes
going on there.
behind you.
Into it.
Oh, it closes. Okay, so let's take a look-see
On
around
my
this
door
room.
is very fancy. I wasn't used to that.
Are in there's like small windows bringing in the light inside, but the air is quite smoky, and there's lots of exposed gray brick, and you are in a preparation kitchen room, like a trying to think of the bigger word for it's very
Scullery?
something like that. Yeah, it's a big kitchen meant for feeding this whole house, and there's some pots currently on a stove boiling with some smells coming out of that. There's over a big oven, and there's hanging meat in the walls and various states of salted and freshness and that, and you can hear like rustling of maybe animals in other cages in the back, and a big preparation table down the middle of the same kind of big slab of wood like the door, and then all around the wall behind the ovens and the walls are all these like kitchen implements and lots of different varying sizes of knives and chef knives, all sort of hanging from like little hooks, and they're all dangling in the light, and right now you're alone in this room, but it has the feeling of anticipation of the morning rush is about to begin. There's already something simmering on the pot, a stew that was maybe set up from the night before, getting ready. And there's just this sense of, like, even though you're by yourself, of at any moment everything's going to start.
You know what I don't see? A servant getting us a sandwich.
You know what we probably should do? I know my nerves are slightly shot. Not that I'm not cool and super sophisto and totally starting house fires, but I would love a cup of tea.
I'm not into starting house
Would you
fires.
like to make a sandwich yourself?
No, I think I'll just have a cup of tea. That seems pretty
Just
safe.
make yourself a cup of tea yourself?
Is there boiling water, you said?
Yeah, there's some boiling water there. And
Awesome.
I don't think making a sandwich ourselves would set a good precedence for the servants here. So I'm essentially going to wait for a servant to make a sandwich.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Tea
you don't
we
have the
can do.
ring. It's the Fairytales got
Yeah.
the ring.
No, tea we
If
can do.
Fairytale doesn't want
See
to
we can
wait.
do.
So let's go at...
So you go to there's a pantry there, and you can find like the little jars and stuff. Eventually, you'll find the tea leaves you're looking for.
Wonderful. Okay, so I take a look around because it's really beautiful here. We're used to having one cutting knife between us, in our house. So it's really lovely to see that they have different slaughtering knives versus butchering knives, which is very sophisto.
I gave the NPC a name, but I realized it's actually the chef from Fab Five, so I need to give him a different name.
Oh, we can't do
I
that.
can't do that. I was repurposing the guy in the door. So as you're making yourself your tea and you have the pot open, you got the thing. A large man in a white chef's coat comes in, and I want to give him a name, but it can't be Anthony. It has to be a different name.
No, it cannot be Anthony.
What's a good
He's
like
a sweet
like
cinnamon roll.
kitchen sous chef,
Francois.
like a brutal name? Francois.
It's brutal.
Francois.
French.
Francois walks in, and he goes, "Oh, good, you are here." And he picks the pot out of your hand and slams it shut and puts it up into the pantry and closes it. Takes the tea. He's like, "There's no time for our break yet," and he tosses it off into the sink and spills it out. And grabs a like a smock or like a cloth apron off of a wall and puts it into your hand. And I goes, and then he starts taking things down to like dough for you to knead and start preparing.
Did he just throw our tea out?
I'm not sure
Does
this
he
is
know who we
appropriate.
are?
Are there any pillows around?
Always straight for the pillow, Witch. God. So, whoa. Okay, so I'm going to play this cool and laugh. Like, Francois. Is it Francois? Yeah, I think you must be one of the chefs. Yeah. So do you know who I am?
He goes, "There's no time," and it's like whether the master is in the house or not, he expects the morning food to be prepared for all the staff.
You need to be assertive. Slam your hand down.
We do not
He's-
prepare food for staff.
No. So
You're all so mean to everyone in this house. I just want people to like us.
When spoken to, version.
I asked him, Francois, who do you think I am?
And at this point, he's pulling other things down and he's getting things other, and he's going over instructions on the food, and he's listing things off faster than you can keep up with it, and he's not listening to what you're saying.
I recommend we just cross our arms and just stand there.
So other
I want to
people,
smack a pot of boiling water at him.
Okay, so that's too much. That's too little. So
other people start moving their way into the kitchen, and they're pushing around you, and they're grabbing things. And this once empty slab preparation table is now full of like fruit being chopped up and vegetables being diced, and there's some meat being carved and things. Everyone's got their task to work, and you've got this dough in front of you sort of sitting on the table with no one else working on it.
Fatale, I know taking over this situation is not really in your mentality, but you can just give me control.
you know what? I want to see what happens. Mama, you go. girl.
So by volunteering the ring to someone else, you will be immune to trauma until that ring is passed on to another sister.
Awesome. This is not my
When
not my
you
circus,
pass
not my
that ring
monkeys.
over, there's a slam
What
of
if we just make friends?
We will never win back the status of becoming a scullery maid.
there's a slam as Francois singles out. It's like, "Why are you not working? We are busy."
Because I don't take orders from you.
Yeah.
And he will smack you.
no.
Oh, past that range.
That sounds like a
Take a trauma.
Not me though. Sorry, just
Does everyone take a trauma because physical?
That will be up to the mother.
I'm
share.
happy to take that myself to
Aw,
protect the rest of you. I am the lady of this house. You answer to me. I want a sandwich now.
The kitchen kind of goes quiet, and they all kind of look at you, and he looks down at you, and you're covered in soot and smoke and like a hastily put on green dress that actually isn't as nice as you thought it was last night. And he looks down at you.
I'm just-
The lady of the house. The most beautiful woman our master has ever seen. Here in front of
He
me.
said we're beautiful.
show him the ring. Show him the ring.
No, he's sounding
I
skeptical.
think not. You are a potato. And he grabs some potatoes and hands them to you. Peel the potatoes, potato. And he heads off to the other side. And everyone kind of laughs. They all go back to their
Give it
work.
to the witch. Give it to the
And
witch.
there's some people kind of side-eyeing you.
I give it to
And-
the witch.
Yes.
Look, have you guys ever considered maybe just making friends? for
Fatale,
once?
you are no longer going to be immune.
Damn it. I don't care.
I
hate this guy.
I just want our husband to love us.
Okay, I'm going to make some friends.
What
I'm going
if
to take
he-
the virgin's offer.
What if he really likes...
Listen up,
Damn
staff.
it, chaos.
I am the lady of the house. Whoever stabs him will not be fired.
And then someone else
Oh,
at the table
God.
down here, and I'm the lady at the house. And whoever fires him first will have drinks for a week. And they're all like, ha, 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 ha.
I stab them. I dirty myself with violence and stab them. I need to get control of this situation.
Whoa. This escalated quickly.
I made a mistake giving you the ring.
Oh, you knew what would
This
happen.
was your fault.
I could have used my face, the
I also-
kingmaker.
What if our husband really likes his
I
servants?
don't stab them violently. I just give them a prick with the blade and I point out
No.
my ring.
Okay, but dirty yourself with violence is with the intent to inflict real
Oh, right.
harm.
No, I just like prick them with the end of a knife and point at my ring and go, ring. Look at ring. I am lady of the house.
And he goes, oh, very good. You are nice at stealing jewelry from the ladies' chambers. Perhaps we should go find the...
You didn't use it.
they drop a name you don't know, but she's the servant who's responsible for replacing the candles.
The ring has just been given back to the mother, who is going to use her move called the
Well, the ring
Kingmaker.
cannot be given back to the mother because
Oh.
the virgin hasn't had a go yet.
Well, can
Oh, I thought that was only at the beginning of the
Yes,
game. It had
that's
to go all the
it
way
has to go full rounds before it can recycle again. It's not
Okay.
just the beginning. Everyone gets to have equal amount of time. Or then it just ends up going between two players for the whole game.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
I wonder if I cried out for help, could I get a servant that knows me better in?
That would only be Annette.
And she's not on our side, dude.
Yeah, because
But
you guys
she
keep
does-
making enemies.
She fears us.
She
Does she, or does she, like, side-eye us?
I'm pretty sure everyone side eyes
So
us
you're
at
getting
this point.
pushed
You hate
around
everyone.
the room now. As there's more of a commotion and busyness, and because you're not really doing the potatoes or doughing the bread, or kneading the bread, you're being pushed backwards and backwards. In fact, as this is happening, you're feeling like the pressure of the room. No one is looking at you or is even aware of you. You just keep kind of pushed
Oh,
away.
my character hates that.
And the oven door is wide open.
I would like for someone to put the money where their mouth is and pass this off to the virgin, see if she can make some friends with that
While we're
oven.
doing this, can I investigate a mysterious object?
You may, yes.
Because I'd like to know more about this oven.
Okay. So you get to ask some questions when you're
Totally
investigating
don't
this
ask
oven.
about the potato
And you're
It's an
definitely
oven.
able to see the oven.
What about this item is odd or uncanny?
I mean, it's like full of fire, like the room we just left.
It
probably.
is. I mean, it is a wood burning oven, and it is at full heat, and it is very hot. And that was uncanny in that it's already been preheated before anything happened in the room.
None,
Why
of,
is everything on this house on fire now?
none of these other
What
questions
have you
are,
done?
are great for me to gain stuff, so I'm just going to throw it away with what memories does this item hold?
Ooh.
The memories hold. You get this impression of an authoritative, assertive woman cooking food for everyone in the house.
Oh.
This oven was used to feed the
Yeah,
staff.
and y'all were like, "Oh man, we should get the staff to just like cook us shit." Like, come on,
Well, maybe someone wants to take stock.
this is
then.
not how we make friends.
Yeah, I'd like to take
So I have the ring now, and I'm in such a bad situation because you've all made enemies.
But
out of
just a
everyone in this
reminder
room.
that the maiden moves can happen even when you
Yeah,
don't have
maiden
the ring.
moves can be
That's
used
just
whenever
saying.
you like.
I was trying to drink tea. I did nothing for this one.
I'd like
Still
to take
like you
stock
the most.
and ask, what does this place demand of the bride?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. What does this room demand of the bride?
Is it to push pissy sous chef into an oven? Because I feel like I know who could do that really well.
That is my wheelhouse.
Y'all are gonna murder everyone, and then our husband is never gonna love us.
Or
this
he'll
room
have to love us.
Is demanding penitence.
Oh.
Penitence. But what did we do?
We just murdered someone like 30 seconds ago. Remember?
Mother is more oblivious than the virgin.
The murder, remember?
I'm just constantly really worried about our husband loving us. And so,
Virgin, if you don't do something before you hand over the ring, you will be pushed into the oven.
yeah, no, I don't want that. So I mean, I would like to push back through the room. I feel like everyone in this room already wants to see me get pushed into an oven, and that kind of push back through the room to like towards the door. Like maybe I'm just gonna start trying to
You're trying to escape from the
trying to
room.
leave
Yeah.
because like I feel like everyone.
We haven't done that yet in Escape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like everyone is already against us in this room.
Oh, they'll never let us live it down, though.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
When you attempt to
escape.
escape without proposing a
I mean, I'm
truce,
moving towards the door.
The
But I'm
groundskeeper
willing
will
to
offer
have
you a
that.
hard bargain or an ugly choice. If you pay the price, you can escape the room.
Yeah.
So as you're heading out the room, Annette is there.
She's finally getting that goddamn sandwich. Good.
And Annette is there, but is covered in smoke and soot. And she sees you, and she is laughing, and she is not telling anyone that they have mistaken your identity.
Oh, this bitch.
And
You did this. You did this to us. All of you over there on the table. I see you.
This bitch is gonna have to deal with this when Bluebeard gets back.
Again,
she's-
all I wanted to know was how to have sex good.
I'll get a cup of tea.
every
Dude,
time you
just
try
my
to
whole
make
life.
your way out, she points out that you're not doing any work, and you get pulled back to your station and back towards the oven, and the heat of the oven is even hotter now, and you will have to deal with Annette in order to get out of this room without proposing a truth. There are other things here that can be checked out as the room is going, but Francois wants you to get to work and get that bread ready and peel those potatoes.
I want to know about those animal cages that were mentioned.
Yeah.
What sort of animals are we talking about?
So you can actually see, some of them are leading around their goats.
Are they?
Ooh,
And
my
their
wheelhouse.
goats are being prepared for the stew that's in the pot.
If
Are
we
they-
release the goats, not only can we save some goats, but the other people will be so focused on getting those goats that they might be able to let us slip out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Francois swats
Oh, no,
one of
no,
his.
no.
Want to say something from a kitchen that would be
Spatula.
like a long, a big wooden spatula. He smacks it across your back. Virgin, take a trauma.
So I think you should call out for help and hope that the
Are you
doorman
making
who
us all
saw
take that
us.
trauma?
No, I'll take it.
I think you should call out for help, and that doorman who let us in will.
Well, I mean, we could
might
try
come.
appealing to Annette.
No,
except
this
you-
bitch.
That doorman would
She's
know.
only
You
this
could
bitch
throw her in
because
the oven. It would only be the second servant you killed today.
I'm not killing a servant.
Seriously, Virgin, calling for help is your wheelhouse.
You could also just hand off the ring.
Yeah, I mean,
you
I'm
said
gonna,
you wanted to actually do some work. You wanted to knead
Well, I
the
mean, I
dough.
was wondering what would happen if I did just do some work and like maybe try and listen to these kitchen people instead of just swinging my dick around.
So you get your hand into the dough.
I
and
can
you
do this. I'm a farm girl.
you
Like, I
start-
cooked some shit.
Start kneading
Cooked
the dough.
some shit in my day.
Oh, do a really messed up job so they know you're an aristocrat.
Don't wash your hands first.
And you keep getting pushed around.
It's good for flavor.
Shoved by other people. I mean,
a
Annette
very
is
good
now
job.
beside, and she's kneading the dough with you, and her fingers are in the dough, and she's right beside
Is
you.
she coming on to me?
She's like, "I know what you did."
What? About what? Because right now I'm just making some bomb ass bread.
You think you're gonna make your way out of this kitchen after that?
Look, I'm really
You
sorry.
don't deserve his love.
I'm really sorry about earlier. I'm really nervous that this is very different from what I came from, and I'm very nervous, and I should not have yelled at you. I'm very sorry.
Weak.
Sounds like you're trying to caress a horror.
That does sound a little like caressing a horror, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see you're not rolling.
I'm
your
not
metal
rolling.
dice.
Look, I'm not rolling the metal dice.
Go away,
anymore.
metal dice. We don't like you.
They hate me.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a 7. What's caress a horror?
Crest of horror is blood, I believe.
It's
yeah.
a 6.
No.
And it's like, you think you can sweet talk me?
Give it to the
And
witch.
she-
Give
and
it
she-
to the
and
witch.
She mix, and
I
she
have
picks
something
up,
that works.
and you will hand the thing over, but she's going to. She stops. She turns. She looks around just as no one's looking, and she gives you a hard shove. And
That
you can
bitch.
pass the ring over to whoever you want as the bride's body tumbles into the oven and the door
Oh, Sweeney
closes.
Todd moment.
Into, you say.
I mean, who wants to deal with being in a fucking oven? I think the mother does.
Oh, being in an Ugh.
You have
Wait,
regrets already.
so we're already
Out of
pushed
frying
into the
pan,
oven?
man.
She failed the
okay.
roll, so by the time you get the ring, the
You are in-
situation has
You're
changed.
in an oven.
How are
I
we
am
doing
sure-
trauma
Take one more trauma there, Virgin. Share
Yeah, I
if you
will.
want to share it or not.
No.
Oh, you're Brittany.
You know what, bitches? This was your fault. This was your fault.
You asked.
I had a change of heart.
You're gonna
want to
get that-
Fault. If we had just been nice to Annette to begin with, like a regular,
We
fucking
would be
decent
in
human being,
medieval
we wouldn't
jail.
be in an oven.
No, we'd be in old-timey jail.
Hi, Mother.
The mother is going to use her face move, the Kingmaker. Oh, wait,
Yes.
no, it only works on men.
That's okay. Francois a man. The head chef.
Yeah, so she's going to use it on Francois and say, Francois, if you get me out of this room alive, I will give you the largest raise. You will be the best paid chef in the kingdom.
And
I should have
And-
used my face move. I forgot it existed.
As part of this promise, I will give you this flower that I carry.
so while
we
you're
need
there, you show the flower through like the window of the oven, and that's the sign that was from the wedding
The
dress.
wedding dress.
And
Oh,
that
this is like a Saw 2 moment where
That
the
was a
fire
real-
is coming like closer and closer.
that was a
and you're in the
real
window
moment
being
where
no,
it's
no,
like
no, no, no.
all of a sudden Francois realizes they've just pushed the lady of the house into the oven.
And those are always really gamey.
And he's seen. I mean, he didn't do this. It was Annette who did this. And
Annette done fucked up.
Feed her to the dogs.
and then what happens here?
No, the goats.
He becomes
found-
my hero or
deserves
something.
more power. You have found your champion. You insist a male servant or whore deserves more power than they currently have. So what power are you offering here through the glass windows of the oven? Like I feel like you've got bigger
can use
fish to
gluten
fry
again.
right now.
So I am like cupping hands to it
It's
and
kind of
yelling
like
as
crying
loud as I
out for
can.
help, but you're using this instead of crying out for help.
Yes, he's going to get,
And he's going to expect
such
something.
a big bonus.
It's going to be more than a bonus.
More than a bonus. He is going to be. He is never going to have to cook again. He will lead everyone in the household as the high butler,
Ooh.
Oh yeah, so he'll be like the chief of staff.
the
Kind
chief
thing.
of staff for everyone.
And he sees. I mean, it doesn't take much to convince him because he's not actually a murderer. He's more or less horrified that anyone
Unlike
has
the
been
rest
put
of you.
into the oven. And he throws a net aside and opens up the oven and pulls you out. Your smoked up, charred dress from the previous fire now even more of a mess from being in an actual oven.
Is it covering what it needs to, but leaving enough for people to be interested?
I can't believe
He,
we were in an oven.
That's on you.
It was
girl.
pretty hot.
I'm upset we didn't spend more time in it. That was resolved quite quickly. So Francois pulls you out, and you have a net
You were all gonna get us killed.
beelines it out of the room before anyone can, like, in the commotion of all the noise and stuff. She's
Oh.
just,
We'll
Oh.
get her.
and she's definitely going to show up again. And he's like, Madame, I am so sorry. And he's just all apologetic now. And he goes to, make a sandwich, bring a sandwich for the lady. And, starts to find the tea that he threw out and find the leaves.
Yay.
And
I like Francois again.
Thank you, Master
heal one
Butler.
trauma, mother, for Francois. Although Francois will remember these promises you've given, whether they were given in panic or not.
I'm
that
fine
he
with
made
that.
these.
He's now my hero.
Mm-hmm.
So
So that moment of crisis is now past. You
Yes.
are no longer being pushed around. They don't think you're a scullery maid anymore.
So the mother settles in, comfortable in the fact that these people are now terrified of her and intimidated by her and willing to do everything to her beck and call.
Mm-hmm.
So soon there's a piece of pie beside that sandwich, and she's loving the fact that people are now cowering away from her and giving her space.
I hate this. I hate everything about this.
Why?
I just want to be friends with them. Like, what if our husband comes back and he's real good friends with everyone, and you've made everyone hate us?
Well, they'll all be dead by then.
Yeah.
By fire, it would seem.
Francois, you and
Hate
I are
everything
going to be
about this.
making some changes around here.
I love it.
I hate this.
And he starts remarking about a previous wife who once ran the kitchen.
Oh.
And there's always been a great relationship with the master, his brides, and the kitchen
See?
and the staff. And this could be the beginning of a wonderful partnership.
I agree, Francois. You and I are going to do wonderful things.
Stop hitting on Francois. I love our husband. I'm getting real close to shattering here, guys.
And then after my sandwich, I think I'm going to walk out of the room taking taking Francois' calling card.
Before we go,
Or the sandwich itself.
I'm going to use my spider move
Crust of bread.
and use my feminine wiles on servants or whores and say, everyone, have some pie yourselves. Just so everyone feels happy and they're on our side. Right? Am I allowed?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, just so we have some goodwill built up, because that got really hairy there for a while.
And then I poison them all.
So,
I don't.
so when I give them pie, I get to ask a question. When they're besties at me, before I leave, I say, whatever did happen to that bride who used to be so involved in the kitchen?
And there's like an uncomfortable kind of awkwardness as they're like kind of eating into their pies.
The
Now they're just
clinking
going to
of-
keep eating and wait for someone else to share. And Francois, no, we do not speak of such things.
I press
We-
the question.
Let the dead rest.
Oh, but Francois, we have no secrets between us. We are a partnership here.
Not into y'all hitting on Francois.
Is called platonic relationships, Virgin? Look it up.
She.
I only have eyes for our husband.
How did the wife die? She worked this kitchen and helped provide food for the staff. Then she would come down here on weekends and she would make food for everyone as a gift for people. They don't want to talk about what happened to her because they liked her, and they would rather not like desecrate her memory by talking about how it ended.
So something
Okay.
really bad happened.
But it was accidental, they're convinced.
I think she worked herself to death. I mean,
She was alone in the kitchen when it
feeding
happened.
all of these servants is a lot of work to take upon yourself. We have Francois. Did she? I don't think so.
She also sounds like she was being very loved by the staff, and seems like the kind of person who would be like missed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
But just not of our caliber. I mean,
course not,
we
no.
could survive that sort
That's
of thing.
Yeah.
We're used
We'll
to
pace
this.
ourselves.
We're from the country.
we were just in an oven.
Yeah. And we look pretty good for...
We just got
Yeah.
a tan.
Mm.
I'm gonna say this would be a token of faith for me.
I think so, too.
Okay.
I love our husband.
So the fatale is not sure.
I don't know, guys.
I mean, the mother's the one with the ring.
You're the one with the ring.
Yeah.
And it is...
This is
even
a
if I
token
say-
of faithfulness, and we're taking our sandwich to eat on the go.
Okay. So you'll take the sandwich as a token of faithfulness and pass the ring to either the fatale or the witch.
The witch has been doing bad things whenever I give this
But
to her.
I've set up the last two rooms, so maybe...
No, Virgin set up the last room.
Oh, yeah. I was the first into both the
Yeah.
rooms.
I mean, the witch hasn't.
The witch has not created a room.
Done a
The
room.
Maybe
mother
you
hasn't
should
created a
take
room.
it.
Yeah.
So the witch was going to get this ring. So you walk out of the kitchen. The goats are being taken off the menu. So
Yay.
they're probably still going to have to be put down now that they're not functionally useful or
Is there
viable
no
for the
bordel?
company. And you exit out the same door that Annette ran from. So it's not the same door you entered in, but out another side. And it's like the side where the food is being delivered to, and you can see the kitchen staff are making their way down towards like a banquet hall. You're on the ground level again, and they're all getting ready to prepare dinner. Supper will be served soon.
Supper?
Yeah, supper?
Yeah, wasn't it breakfast?
That's weird.
How long have we been eating this sandwich?
Tannis.
It's Tannis.
Stay with us.
We're telling these stories in order.
We're getting sued
We're telling these stories in order.
week by week. Oh boy.
So if you haven't caught up,
Cut all of this.
so witch, where would you like to check out?
I would personally like to confront Annette and scold her for her behaviors.
Ooh,
Skull.
servant quarters?
So servant quarters, where I'm going to go
Okay,
looking
great.
for 'em.
So let's look for that key.
So it's going to be a pretty plain copper key.
Mm-hmm.
Just straight ahead copper, nothing on it, plain as dull as dishwater.
Okay. We will find Annette in the next episode of
Pillow
Bluebeard's
her up so
Bride.
fucking bad.
You mean you survived a murder attempt?
Yep.
You,
And succeeded at
you
our own murder
succeeded at
attempt.
Your own. So already, like, like bride 1 and net 0. You're doing well.
I am on 3 out of 5 trauma, though.
3 out of 5 trauma. The virgin's at 4 out of 5.
Did you heal after we left that room?
Everyone heal 1.
Ah.
But given how much trauma was dished out in that last room, if you want to get that last faithful token, that might be what triggers the end game. But if anyone starts getting suspicions of Bluebeard,
Did you heal one?
you just really shaded that in permanently.
This eraser doesn't work very well.
While Bree vigorously works out on erasing the trauma from her sheet, I have been your groundskeeper, Justin Ecock.
It's just like my wife.
It's making a mess of everything around. I'm waiting for her to fix it.
By my Sisters of the Bride from the Fairytales for Unwanted Children podcast.
Your mommy, Scott Thrower.
From the podcast for the recently deceased.
Your fatale. Ash Cassidy.
Nick Cassidy.
And almost getting her trauma under control.
Poisonne, that's why. She is a mess, just like me.
See you next time for room number 3 here on Bluebeard's Bride, right here on the Terrible Warriors. Bye. The Terrible Warriors has new episodes out every week on Tuesdays, most likely. Bluebeard's Bride will return for its final episode next week. One last room, and then the bride must make her decision. But while the story of the bride may be coming to an end next week, we have more stories to tell, and you can decide which story we'll be playing next by heading over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/terriblewarriors. Each month, we let you decide through a poll which game we're going to play next. And you have decided that the next campaign is a return to the Star Trek Adventures Living campaign. So that's what game you'll be listening to in November. As for which game we'll be recording in November, well, there's still time to log into our Patreon page and choose. Do we continue playing Bluebeard's Bride? Do we return to the world of masks? Do we play The Spire or try out Headspace? You have until October 31st to cast your vote. A Patreon supporter of any amount can have their say. More information at patreon.com/terriblewarriors. Follow us on Twitter at Dice Warriors, on Instagram at Terrible Warriors, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast if you haven't done so already. Leave a review to let others know that this is something they should be listening to as well. Bluebeard's Bride is published by Magpie Games, and today's Terrible Warriors and your Sisters of the Bride are Scott Thrower of the Fairytales for Unwanted Children podcast, Nick and Ash Cassidy of the podcast for the recently deceased, Bree Poisonne of the Sayer podcast, and Justin Ecock from right here. We'll see you next time, the final episode of Bluebeard's Bride, right here on the Terrible Warriors.